Hey there, and welcome to Fan Theory Queries, where we analyze fan theories from all over the internet, but mostly Reddit. I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer, and I'm the Hunk on this episode.
Whoa! I could tell. You had the energy about you.
Yes, 100% agree.
Something
You're
very
like, where
hunky.
does this
Hey,
energy come from?
if we may, why are you the hunk today?
Yeah, why are you the hunk today?
I am the Hunk because I coordinated everything to get this all together.
Sure
That is
did.
true.
Thank you, God. I've been needing
And,
to thank you for everything that's happened.
And I have a nice, as many people tell me, beard.
Great. Good job.
I think it
So
is nice.
we've got with us the guys from Two Chunks and Hunk. If you don't know that by now, you've been living under a rock. Welcome to day three of being on the show. Guys, if you want to sound off, say hey to everyone.
Reverse alphabetical
guys.
order, go.
Hey, it's me, Jordan.
Hey, it's me, Doge.
I'm Carter.
Hey, and welcome.
Thanks,
That
guys.
was a
for
sound
being
off
here.
if I've ever heard one.
I know.
Let's try it again, but with
Go ahead and
less.
turn your sound off, everybody.
Could we get a take with
so yeah.
less energy? I worry that's just too amped up for the show.
Yeah, let me go again. I'll take it again.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
it down a notch.
Jordan.
this one.
Okay, well, let's...
Too
Good job, Carter.
All right, so just a quick reminder, we have, as we mentioned, the guys from Two Chunks and a Hunk podcast. They have selected their own theories to present to us. So far, we have heard from Doge and Jordan. Now, finally, we've arrived at Carter, and Carter has quite the theory to share with us. I'm really excited. So, Carter, what do you got?
So I have...
Before you start, is it okay if you work in like one or two dinosaur facts here and there just to keep me on the hook? Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
He's gonna
And I'll
send
come
those
up
to you
with
in
my
the
own
chat.
theory, too.
Oh.
Yeah, it's tough to follow these guys. It's tough to follow these guys. My theory comes from one Jason Concepcion. And I have to tell you, plug for Jason Concepcion. He's a big contributor to Binge Mode. If you've ever listened to that as kind of an accompaniment podcast through really anything pop culture. He was also on a podcast called The Connect. He's very thorough, so bear with me here, okay, as I read through some of this, but I think it's worth listening to just about all of it. And I'm going to give you the stage that he has set, okay? Since it first hit theaters, audiences have been enchanted by Home Alone and its scenes of young Kevin romping through the affluent Chicago suburbs all by his lonesome, accidentally shoplifting from the grocery store, making a pizza boy think he was about to be murdered, and most famously, defending his home from a pair of bumbling thieves using a series of Roadrunner vs. Coyote devices of his own design. Are y'all laughing that I said
Shiplofting.
shiplofting?
I'm trying not
Ship
to.
should be a bit higher. Home Alone's impact. That's not a part of this. This is not Jason Concepcion. Home Alone's impact on modern holiday culture, I can't argue this, cannot be overstated. But the movie has another legacy, a hidden legacy. So do you want to play a game? I, Jason Concepcion, had been working on this theory for several years, he claims, researching, poring over the film. Now he seems to say with certainty that Home Alone is in actuality the origin story of Jigsaw, nay, John Kramer, the infamous serial killer and mentor to serial killers from the Saw movie series. Here are some examples as to why. Throughout Home Alone and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Kevin displays anger control issues, a proclivity for violent fantasies, and voyeuristic tendencies, combined
Nasty boy.
with a fetish for recorded video.
I think you
becomes
go to
fascinated.
prison, actually, if you say the word fetish while also talking about a kid. I don't think you could say that, Carter.
This is a family podcast.
That's fine. Kevin
He didn't
becomes
say that.
fascinated with his next door neighbor, Old Man Marley. Why? Well, he had just learned that Marley is possibly the serial killer known as the South Bend Shovel Slayer. Kevin seems especially obsessed with the idea that Old Man Marley imprisoned and mummified his victims. Early on in Home Alone, Kevin comes downstairs to discover that the extended McCallister clan, there's quite a few of them, has devoured all the slices of his beloved plain cheese pizza. His older brother, the corpulent bully Buzz, teases him about this, telling Kevin that if he wants some plain cheese pizza, someone's going to have to barf it up.
Ooh.
Sound familiar?
Rough.
At that same moment, Kevin sees his cousin, the notorious bedwetter, Fuller, with whom Kevin is sharing a bed later that evening, gleefully smirking while filling his feeble bladder with product placement Pepsi. Classic triple.
I love his alliterations. Yes.
Me too.
Alliteration's beautiful.
Kevin reacts by flying into a murderous rage, releasing a guttural scream while tearing into Buzz in a whirlwind of nails and teeth. Buzz easily outweighs Kevin by perhaps 80 pounds, but the force of Kevin's attack pushes the older boy back against the kitchen counter. Seems unrealistic, unless there's something more. In Home Alone 2, Kevin records a video of his Uncle Frank in the shower, later using the video to frighten hotel workers. That's strange. We're just kind of letting Kevin get away with a lot of stuff. To be honest. When we watched a kid like kill people in Violent Night recently, it was like, that's unrealistic too. Or is it?
Yeah.
Kevin experiences...
But in Home Alone, I feel like you watch and you're just like, yay!
Hey, that hurt. Kevin experiences frequent realistic visual and auditory hallucinations. Let's talk about that furnace. So seeing the furnace in the basement, he himself saw a ravenous, fiery maud monster. This particular symptom of his psychosis
saw it.
would become important to his methodology as the serial killer Jigsaw. I have to say, this is Carter speaking now. Brave Little Toaster did this for me too. There's something about a kid seeing angry inanimate objects that just feels not good.
How about Fern
Do you remember-
Gully?
Oh,
You may remember Fern Gully?
Big time.
Is it the
Yeah, that wrecked me.
not steamroller? What is it called? Like a logging machine or whatever? That's so angry.
yeah.
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 And like Tim Curry's character is the essence of it. And you're like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember not particularly caring for cars whose headlights and grill looked mean when I was a kid. I was like, "Ugh, I don't like the way that car's looking at me.
Jason Concepcion begins to draw some connections between these things that he hallucinates about and then eventually creates on his own, and what Jigsaw would do later. But we need to consider Kevin's metal-mouthed furnace monster hallucination. Jason contended that this obviously scarring childhood fear would play an influential role in his later work as Jigsaw, and that he would use a similar-looking device to torture, if we remember, Amanda in Saw. I have to tell you, this is Carter speaking again. I sound just like Jason. I, in college, decided that a buddy of mine, Matthew Fickey, these other guys know who that is, we were just going to watch all the Saw movies. So you need to know that I have consumed all of this. In Saw 2, Jigsaw, we'll say Kevin, recreates his childhood basement right down to the furnace monster. This is a podcast medium, but if you look up what Jason Concepcion has shared, he does some side-by-side photos here that are pretty compelling, I would say.
Yeah.
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 Jigsaw places the antidote to a poison inside the furnace, luring his victims inside. When the victim grabs the antidote, the furnace door shuts and the victim is burned alive. This happens again and again. The flammable jelly trap that Jigsaw uses, we see flames used all the time on our bumbling. What are they
Wet
called?
bandits?
The wet bandits.
Well, they were the,
Wet bandits.
Wet
Yep.
bandits, and then they were the sticky bandits in the second movie. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that Jason shares as he's kind of going through all the things, and if you've ever seen Home Alone, these are pretty visceral. We've got someone who steps on a nail. We've got someone who just falls. We've got an iron that falls on somebody's face. What at first glance seems like an innocent, if mischievous child, justified defense of life and property is, in actuality, cold-blooded and repeated attempt at double homicide. Like, legitimately. The fact that these guys didn't die. In 2012, Dr. Ryan St. Clair of Cornell Medical College was asked to assess the injuries incurred by Harry and Marv at the hands of Kevin McCallister.
Have you seen this video?
No.
I've heard a different
It is-
podcast do it as well.
Really?
Yeah,
it is
Sawbones.
so much fun to watch this video. It is astounding to me. I'll give you the summary of the whole video, which is, they're instantly dead.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do we talked about the blowtorch to the scalp, which you don't really have to have a professional explain that that's probably not a good idea.
Gonna melt
But let me
your
just
skull.
give you some of Dr. St. Clair's words here. Harry has an interesting reaction to having a lip blowtorch aimed directly at his scalp. Rather than remove himself from danger, he keeps the top of his skull directly in line of fire for about 7 seconds. What was likely a simple second-degree skin burn is now a full thickness burn, likely to cause necrosis of the calvarium, so the skull bone. That means the skin and bone tissue on Harry's skull will be so damaged and rotted that his skull bone is essentially dying and will likely require a transplant. A skull bone transplant. If
Well,
these
you know what they
things
say, the skull bone's connected to the brain bone.
exactly. But if these things sound disgusting to you and visceral, wow, lo and behold, the plot of Saw. So let's end with this, though. Perhaps, despite the obvious similarities between Kevin and Jigsaw's MOs, Kevin's obvious mental instability, his predilection for violence, his hatred of the police, his twisted sense of morality, and his gleeful dispensing of possibly life-ending violence, you still aren't convinced that Kevin is Jigsaw. How then to explain? We talked about something yesterday about dodgeball connection to heavyweights. And we have something similar again. How then to explain the clear resemblance between young Kevin and ailing Jigsaw? I was already in on this theory, and obviously I'll give what I think about it at the end. But this is bizarre to me. So same eye color, same skin, like milk skin tone, same chin shape, same smirking lips. And if that isn't enough, the last bit of evidence, something that Jason found while scoring the film frame by frame for clues, something that raises the hairs on his neck even to this day. There in the scene in which Kevin first discovers he's home alone as he wanders downstairs into the basement, right before he first hallucinates the furnace monster, right before that happens, that catalytic moment, he has had such an obvious impact on his psyche. He finds it. And then he zooms in on this. There's a clown in the same part of the basement where that furnace is that looks so much like the Jigsaw clown. And here was the trauma.
Yeah.
This is Bruce Wayne's Bat Cave experience.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You see the monster,
Great analogy. Yeah.
you become the monster. But as I said, I've watched both of these. I haven't watched the entire series. I kind of fell into, I love the business of movies and the influence that it has on culture and then like economically. These entire series. So Saw 10 is coming out this year in October. There's 10 of the Saw movies. Home Alone technically had 7. I think, right? They kind of go all over the place. Maybe we get an OG actor back and then we just try something in. Maybe we just give Chris Rock a chance to be a part of it. I don't know. Maybe he wants to do something for work. But they almost made the exact same worldwide gross. This has nothing to do with the theory. But these two combined. It's so funny. The Saw series has made just over $1 billion. So that's why they keep happening. As a whole, it has made more than $1 billion worldwide. But I think I'm going to go see Saw. They're calling it Saw X, which how do you think Vin Diesel feels about that?
Why aren't they calling it Saw 10: The Fast Saga 2 Saw 2 Saw 2 Saw?
I have.
Are you telling me this movie's called Socks?
So
Yeah. Socks.
Well, you know what degloving is.
I would like to interject and say what's funny is there are actually several fan theories about who Kevin McCallister grows up to be. Can't remember think off the top of my head, but there are at least 2 or 3 other ones that connect him to other characters in other movies. But I must say,
Was he ever a serial killer?
no, he was not. But I must say, like, I feel like this one is the most compelling. The only thing that takes me out of it is simply the temporal element of it. Of, you know, when does Saw? We assume that Saw takes place in the year that it came out, which was, I think that was 2006, maybe somewhere around there. And so, if we're putting them in the exact same timeline, you know, it's clearly not possible for young Kevin McCallister to be Jigsaw unless something went even more horribly wrong.
Well, here's what. Let me tell you
man.
now. The difference between Macaulay Culkin when Home Alone came out and then Macaulay Culkin in 2006 probably shocked people as much as seeing him compared to Saw. So I have seen cute young actor turn crypt keeper many times in my day, sir.
I have seen how the Macaulay does fade.
This was 2004.
Oh, 2004, sorry.
My freshman year of college, my boyfriend at the time made me watch this against my will, and it was awful. I hated
seems
Saw
like a cool
so
guy.
much.
I would never do that to you. That's why you married me.
It would have to be 14 years after.
What was that one that you made me watch? Was The Strangers?
The Strangers.
Yeah.
No, I didn't make you watch that. You watched
Stop,
it because
we're
you
not
wanted to
gonna
hold
go
my
there
hand.
in this podcast. Okay.
Oh no!
But as a person with a skim milk skin tone, I do kind of take offense to that.
And blue eyes.
And blue eyes and blonde hair. I take a little offense. I could be Jigsaw for all of that.
This doesn't really have anything to do with the theory, so it's probably good that I bring it up. But I I watched Saw and Saw 2, and I think Saw 3 this last Halloween, just for funsies. Saw 1 rules. That movie is phenomenal. It's not even like, it didn't turn into the like gross gory Saw until like Saw 3. Saw 1 was still just like a thriller, like 7. It's equally as gory and scary as 7.
Just over the
And
top.
that twist, I mean that's one of the best twists in any movie. And many
Fantastic twist. Good movie.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
theory.
We're not going to spoil it here, though.
No.
I mean, we can. We spoil all the time. Okay.
Like my skim milk skin.
Does anybody else have any questions to bring up about that may, lead you one way or the other?
I just want to know, Carter, how much convincing did this one take you? From title to, you know what? I think I'm there. Because I can see it in your eyes. So how long did it take you? You know what I mean?
To be convinced? Mm-hmm. I am down, dude. I'm always down for something that just seems absolutely ridiculous. And if I can even get close to an argument, I'm in.
Yeah.
So I was convinced pretty quick.
I get that.
I have a question here.
Okay.
So, I know there was a lot of writing here that, fair to say, we didn't cover every single bit of it because there was just so much. But, everybody's heard, in the dearth of, typically, again, as a white woman on a podcast, I should be hosting a true crime podcast, but instead I'm here.
Statistically.
And what we've learned from true crime podcasts is that serial killers normally exhibit these certain characteristics of like torturing animals and then escalating those kinds of threats towards children and whatnot. Don't really see evidence of that for Kevin McCallister. Like, he doesn't do anything to the tarantula in the movie. He doesn't torture it or
But
anything.
torturing people?
Torture humans.
Yeah.
Okay.
He started.
What
He
about-
jumps
you gotta
instead of
start
starting
small,
at
you know?
animals, but that's why Jigsaw's so messed up, right? Because he doesn't
for
start
sure.
small. He starts at people.
Yeah.
Okay.
A serial killer that
That's
starts
how you get
as,
to
like,
that level.
Yeah, serial killers that start like by torturing animals, they just end up on an episode of Mindhunters. They don't get their whole 10 series movies, right? They're not as interesting as someone who's just trying to kill people early, you know? That's a bit more visceral.
He's like those kids that graduate high school when they should be in like the 4th grade.
Oh, like
Yeah.
wasn't there recently a 9-year-old who got his high school diploma in the state of Texas? And
Yeah.
One thing that's interesting is that he did a lot of good work on lots of connections and that kind of thing. One thing that he mentioned at the very beginning, but he didn't dig into a whole lot, is the fact that they both make crazy contraptions and traps and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Like that is a hallmark of
Really
both
creative.
characters, is this ingenuity of their ways to torture people, basically.
I would say that the difference, though, is that with Kevin McCallister, you have the choice to walk into the house or leave, whereas
Yeah.
you don't
Here's
exactly
the thing,
get that
though.
choice.
I'm glad you brought up
Jigsaw.
leaving, because if we're talking about trauma, your family just forgetting about you probably has some lasting
Yeah.
effect, especially when it
Twice.
happens more than once. And I haven't seen the other 4 or 5 iterations of Home Alone, but they're still called Home Alone. So I'd imagine there's something to do with somebody being like, wasn't there another one? Kind of a skim, milky kind of tone. You know, I don't know.
Where's the boy that we have with serial killer-esque tendencies?
He's really quiet. He's not here.
What's the deal?
I just do want to say that as someone who is a certified genuine pleasure to have in class as a young boy, it takes almost no convincing for me to believe that Kevin McCallister grew up to be a real stinker of some sort.
That's on his rap sheet. And a real stinker.
And to top it off, the worst charge of all, a rapscallion to the day he died.
That's what the prosecutor says. Yeah. This is a case the DA would handle, and that is definitely in his opening argument. Okay. Well, what a great way to open up the episode. From there, why don't we take a break, and then we'll come back and we can rate this theory. And we're back. We're going to rate this fun fan theory?
I think it's not.
Okay.
It's not fun, but it's necessary.
About to get that explicit part of the podcast.
I mean, there is a fine line there. We've found some of those that it's like, maybe not. Maybe we don't need this theory.
We
But
talk
this
about
one,
esports a lot.
we've been able to we've been able to keep this on the light fun side. But before we do, Michael, we need you to remind us of our rating scale.
Of course. The highest rating that we have is Genius. This is reserved for only the best theories, which we believe are better than the actual canon. The next step down is Plausible. It's a good theory, it's believable. Unlikely is next. It's not a terrible theory, but pretty unlikely, as the name suggests. And then the last thing is Preposterous. These are the theories that are just stupid. Basically, we're all dumber for having listened to them.
Okay, ratings for this theory.
I went first last
up.
time. I don't want to go first this time.
I'll go. I'll jump out there. Kevin can
Do
kill
it.
me first, and then you can get away. Genius. This is genius. This is so obviously true that I don't think anybody should say anything other than genius when it's their turn after I'm done.
This has been Fan Theory Queries.
Yeah, just wrap it up here.
True.
Yeah, I definitely am gonna have to agree with Doge on this. It's straight up genius. I mean, this may be even more genius than the comparison of to Ben Stiller's characters. You know, like this just makes sense. It's for the same reasons. Like there's just too much evidence that points to this being truth. So as far as I'm concerned, this is actual canon for me. And honestly, this will make me enjoy both of these movie series even more.
Back to back.
Yes.
Our traditional Christmas watch of Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Saw 1 through 9.
So something I forgot to ask about earlier, because again, I only saw the first one once a long time ago. Isn't Jigsaw is he terminally ill? Does he have a? And what is his illness?
Cancer.
Cancer. Probably from all the lead paint and oils that he breathed in while he was creating all of his traps.
Okay, we don't know what kind of cancer. Just
smelling a
it's just
burning
cancer
scalp.
because
Remember.
cancer is
I don't-
cancer for its cancer sake.
I don't remember. I'm
Okay.
sure they specify. They have to at some point.
Okay.
But I don't remember.
I think
Okay,
he had lymphomoloma.
That sucks.
that didn't seem even. You knew. You knew, Doge. You leaned into the mic and you said
How'd
it
that
anyway.
taste? How did that taste when it came out? Bad, huh?
Okay.
I'll write next. Can I write next?
Go for it.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd love to write next. I'm obviously giving this a genius. I think that I'm going to give this a genius on 2 counts. Count number 1 is just simply the amount of research put into this theory is off the charts. And I don't have the time to build a counter argument. Number 2, I just love it. I think it's so perfect. And this is the kind of fan theory that makes sifting through 10,000 different variations of the same crappy fan theory, which you guys know probably better than anybody how many throwaway cruft fan theories are out there. Sifting through all of those becomes worth it when you get to one of these and you're like, yes, creativity and fun.
Right.
So I'm genius all the way on this. This is a blast.
Jigsaw, former civil engineer who was dying from an inoperable frontal lobe tumor that had developed from colon cancer.
Oh, wow. Complicated.
Thank you.
Wow, that sounds
So I was wrong then.
You were wrong. Set the record straight, y'all.
that sounds like it hurts. Okay, because I was having trouble with what you talked about of if Kevin McCallister was going to beat Jigsaw in 2004, not really fitting a timeline there, but now that we have that info of this chronic debilitating illness, I can give you that his appearance would have greatly deteriorated due to this. So then I can give this a genius. That is good work. It is excellent work. digging into the source materials of both and connecting them. That's what I really like when you do those kinds of things. So yes, I give it
Love that,
genius.
Jason Concepcion.
He had to have spent a lot of time around like asbestos and lead paint and like all that kind of stuff, right? Like all kinds of carcinogens. That was just sort of his bread and butter, I think.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Jason Concepcion or?
No, sorry, Jason seems to be of sound mind and also body. I just more meant Kevin McCallister.
It's funny you bring it up. That was literally his bread and butter. He would just take those things and spread them.
Just spread lead paint on asbestos and
Just eat them.
Okay.
When you're home alone, I mean, what else can you do?
What do you do?
Did Carter get to give his rating?
He goes last.
Okay.
I haven't gone yet.
Oh,
I haven't gone
I
yet.
thought you did.
No,
Okay.
I did not
my
go.
bad.
No, he went first
Okay.
last time. He didn't want to go first.
I have to at least lay down my concerns before I give my final theory. So there's the timeline thing. The first movie, Home Alone, takes place in 1990s when it came out. I'm pretty sure I remember, is Kevin supposed to be like 8 in that, somewhere around there?
right.
Yeah, 8 to 10. feels like.
Around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We not only have to account for the aging process, so if we were going to say he was 8, let's benefit it out. Let's say he was 10 in 1990. That means he would be 24 in 2004 when Saw comes out, which, let's just say the cancer and all of that stuff really wrecked him. He also has to have the time, if we remember, that one of the whole reasons why he goes on his tirade or whatever is because his wife, he was married, and she was pregnant, and I believe they both died, right?
The wife and the baby.
Yeah. And so that was one of the motivations behind him going, is like, people need to value their lives and la 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 la. And I know I'm taking all the fun out of this, but I'm just thinking out loud here.
Yeah.
I still give credibility to it, and especially you can't discount a lot of the connections made. I mean, that clown doll in the basement, and then just the fact that the basement looks so much like the one from the movie. So I will say I'll because it's a special occasion, I'll go with genius.
I don't begrudging about it though.
I'm not begrudging. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it, because I'm true to my word.
It means a lot to me.
I thought you
But,
were going to
like-
go with plausible.
Hey.
No, I was gonna go with
Christmas.
no. I was gonna
Santa.
go with
I don't get it.
Sawzable.
Ooh.
That's better. That's actually so much better.
Extra large cheese pizza.
I mean, like, if it weren't for the time factor, like, that would 100%. I wouldn't even
For sure. And I
hesitate.
guess we're really going based off of like release dates of the movies, but I bet someone could make some kind of argument to at least give us 5, 6, 7 more years of Home Alone, because everything's pretty generic in terms of what they're wearing. Nothing screams 90s except that it was released in 90 to me. But
Well, same thing for Saw also. I mean, we don't have anything either really nailing down. I mean, without me going in and nailing down that timeline. So I
The
will.
genes on the guys in the bathroom in the first Saw would beg to differ.
What's that? What's Wesley? Prince Wesley? Or what's his name?
yeah.
Carrie.
Yeah, the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Is he a prince?
Maybe there's a connection
Okay,
there.
yeah.
He was not a prince.
I don't know why I said that.
He would eventually become
Robert
once he
Loxley.
marries Buttercup. It's assumed.
Once he
Genius.
became the princess's bride.
Princess's bride. That's his husband bride. I think it's genius. I think for reasons that have been shared, I love when people can just absolutely find some ridiculous way to put two things together. I'm totally down.
Yes.
This is a perfect way to end Two Chunks in a Hunk Week with a pure, full consensus, a unanimous rating of genius for a theory. I want to give you guys one more opportunity to plug your show, but before we get there, if you don't mind, I did have one more fascinating detail that I came across the other day that I want to share.
Good.
Yeah, good.
Now, this one doesn't have anything to do with anything y'all have done recently, so it may not hit as well and as close to home, but I still think it's worth noting, especially for movie fans like yourself. There are a lot of times in movies where you have these really cool references, but you don't realize it until someone points it out to you. And so this one is pointed out to us by Skyfall91404 on Reddit, and they explain that in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Dwayne Johnson's avatar did not have the power to read the map. This is because paper beats rock.
Wow.
I mean, duh. We all knew that.
The only time he's ever
obviously.
lost anything in a movie.
Contractually.
He didn't even know it. You got to.
And the map was like, sometimes the map fights back.
All right. Well, thanks for being good sports. Thanks again so much for being on the show. This was a blast.
Thanks,
once
guys.
again, the show is called Two Chunks and a Hunk. And where we know we can listen to it anywhere. Do you guys have like a great social media presence that people might be interested in following?
Is that a question?
Yeah, it was. Do you guys have a great social
I thought
media?
you were saying we did. Yes, we do.
We have what is best described as an intermittent social media presence, which
Okay.
is to say 1 week on, 9, 10, 11 weeks off. Who knows?
That
We're
sounds
like
familiar.
a cool, distant father. Every time we show up, you're like,
Yeah.
he's here. On.
Yeah, we don't have. We're like just really, really good athletes. The kind that are just like when the season's going, we really only focus on the game. You know,
Right.
and that's making the podcast.
Yeah.
It's
All
like
the
how
extra
Star Wars.
Jason
endorsements,
Street.
and
Matt Saracen.
we're not nearly.
It's
as
like how
good at
Star Wars used to be, which is to say rare.
Good.
Okay. All right.
Cool. Well, with that, this has been Fan Theory Queries, and I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Spencer.
And I'm Spence.
Got him.
Want to play a game, Spence?
I like it. And I'm Jordan Doge Carter, the first. Subscribe to Fan Theory Queries so you don't miss out on other fascinating fan theories.
Yeah,
That'll
that
do it.
works. That's fine.